Joining us now from Capitol Hill is Kansas Republican Congressman Tim Huelskamp, a member of the Tea Party caucus. Good to have you on the program,
Welcome,
Congressman.
Sir.
Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
So you heard the report. There is word the White House would be open to a short-term debt limit increase to prevent a debt default. Would you accept that?
Well, we'll see what the president's proposing, but we've been sitting here weeks, months, waiting for any type of offer, and I'm certain the president would love to get his way for a short term, but the real issue here is we have a CR. He wants to keep the government shut down. The debt ceiling's past that, and we're looking for some real offers, and we have not had those from either the Senate or the president.
So are you saying you would not accept that then? The question was, would you accept a short-term debt deal?
The problem here in Washington is too much spending, and the president would like to ignore that, and I see no reason to raise the debt ceiling until we solve the problem. And the reason we're increasing the debt, and that's our out-of-control entitlement spending, and the president has nothing but suggesting we need to push Obamacare, which will make the problem even worse.
The fear is that we get to the debt ceiling and we breach it and the government can't pay its bills come October 17th. But yet the markets don't seem to be anticipating that. Interest rate market are still very low. Does the market have it wrong? Would you allow the government to stop paying its bills in order to get across your point on the budget?
In the next 5 weeks, there's only one major interest payment. I think the markets understand that. There's a $6 billion payment due at the end of the month. There are no other major interest payments. There will be no default. Joe Biden said as much in August of 2011. David Spokesman with the Reagan administration said that as well. I think Lou tried to go and manipulate the market over the weekend. It did not work. But at the end of the day, there will be no default. But there is a question, can we get our spending under control? And that's the real issue in the debt ceiling.
Well, let me just ask on this procedural issue. Are you not working toward an October 17th deadline then? Do you anticipate going beyond that date that Secretary Lou has identified?
I think that's entirely possible. Again, there are no interest payments due between now and October 17th. And the idea we're going to default when there are no payments due, that is what a default is. But the real issue here on the CR is Obamacare. And the bigger is the rest of the entitlements in reference to the debt ceiling. We need a 10-year path to balance. That's what Republicans agreed to in January, and the president has presented no planned solution to this overspending problem.
So something's got to give here. You know, somebody's got to blink. I mean, are you concerned that the U.S. will default? You said that's entirely possible that we go beyond October 17th. So does it concern you in any way if the U.S. defaults?
Well, I don't know about blinking. It's been 7 straight days. The U.S. Senate hasn't taken a vote yet. And we have this government shutdown still going on. The House is turning out bills. But answer the question, I do not believe there will be a default on October 17th. We don't have any payments due to our creditors then. We have one on October 31st and a major one on November 15th. So that's the real issue.
Not a real date for you, October 17th. You don't care about October 17th. You're looking toward the end of the month then. This could go toward October 30th.
I think so. We need to solve the CR. We have time to do that. The president and Harry Reid need to come to the table. If you look back in August of 2011, it's the same thing. They had plenty of 2 weeks left after they said there'd be a default. But as Joe Biden said, they never planned on a default. It was an attempt just to manipulate Congress. So at the end of the day, we've got a spending problem. We've got to face that.
One of the questions out there right now is whether or not there are enough votes to pass a clean bill in the House right now. Do you believe there are?
I do not. We had that discussion in conference, in the Republican conference late last week. There are not the votes there. Every Democrat would vote to give the president what he wants, and that's continue to spend at the rate of $700 billion deficit. We can't do that, and that's why we have a debt ceiling problem, is they're spending too much money. So there's not the votes for a clean CR, but there are the votes there to actually continue to open up everything from our parks to NIH to numerous other things. Hasn't had a vote in 7 straight days. I don't know what they're doing. I think it's time they come to the table and negotiate.
Why not have a vote then on the debt ceiling then right now, sir?
We haven't had one presented from the president, but to me, to vote for a debt ceiling, you have to tell me. The president has no proposal. Why do we have to raise the debt ceiling is the fundamental question. Is we're spending more than we're taking in. We have to get our spending under control. That's an entitlements issue, and Obamacare makes it significantly worse. And that's what we're looking from the president and the Senate. Do you have a plan to deal with our spending problem, whether it's the CR or the debt ceiling debate? And right now, they're two separate issues. Hopefully we'll finish the CR here in a few days when Harry Reid's ready to bring the Senate to work.
So you're saying that there's too much spending. The specifics for us.
There's no question about it.
Right. Well, where would you like to see the spending cuts? Put Obamacare aside. Where else would you like to see the spending cuts? What are your proposals?
Well, we need serious entitlement reform. We need a serious conversation on that. The House passed a budget in us to balance in 10 years. The president never balanced. Same thing with Harry Reid. Never balances. At the end of the day, you have to balance sometime, and I think most Americans agree we should balance sometime in Washington. We should do that in less than 10 years. That's our proposal from the House. We're waiting for something from the Senate and from the president.
Are you not concerned about the warning from China, our largest creditor nation, that we're,
they are not our largest creditor nation.
Right now?
The largest credit nation today, if I understand that, is Japan. China is number 2. But at the end of the day, when you only have one significant debt payment between now and November 15th, we can handle a $6 billion payment. The real question is, what are we going to do about Obamacare and all the other spending that continues to grow?
Okay. What about rollover risk? I'm getting an email here wondering about your familiarity with rollover risk.
Well, what we see coming out of the Treasury, and it's difficult to get the full answers, they have all the books. They have all and some of those have been deemed non-essential when they're trying to get those answers. But based on the current information is there's this $6 billion payment due on October 31st and nothing until November 15th. So we have 5 weeks to continue to discuss the future of this country. The president would make it about one single issue default, give him his additional borrowing authority. Republicans say, hey, no, the question here is spending too much money. We need to talk about that. We need to have a solution. And the president's presented none to answer this problem.
Congressman Huelskamp, thank you for your time, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much, sir.
Thank you.